And we're back, but without a face. It's a faceless stream today. As we get into this one, I did just realize that I completely forgot to set up before the stream began. I was busy taking my own dumps, and it was all for the best. It was all for the best. We got actually several things to be speaking about today, following up on really the last 4 or 5 days worth of price action analysis as this thread continues onwards and forwards. Really, actually, I guess since the last couple of weeks when Bitcoin really got up to 95,000 for the first time. I mean, really nothing has changed here. And we're kind of in this next period of consolidation before the next resolution, which is, as always, the most boring times. But of course, during the boring times, that is when the setups actually do emerge. Anyways, I see a lot of familiar faces in here. I see a lot of great questions. Actually, William Wallace, love your movies, by the way. Krown, do you know what basketball is? No, I do not. I just buy the jerseys because honestly, they're very, very comfortable. To be frank, yeah, man, I'm actually not the biggest basketball fan. I grew up playing baseball and watching football. I mean, I played a little bit of football as well, but baseball was my sport. However, to be honest, man, I actually don't like watching sports. I like playing sports. I don't really like watching it. Like, I just feel like I'm kind of wasting my time, to be honest. I do like watching boxing. That's for sure. And a little bit of football here and there. But when was the last time you saw me watch football? Huh? How about that? Yeah, you have no fucking answer for that, do you? Yeah, when we were in the States like 4 or 5 months ago. Anyways, good to see Patrick Ocean. Good morning to you, man. Queen Satoshi says, hey, Krown, extreme meat eaters go bald? What? Oh, no. Well, yes, I am going bald. That's why I, of course, am getting another hair transplant. It is what it is. It is what it is. But yeah. What's more concerning is how gray or white my hair is now. It's like, Jesus, not even into my 40s yet. We got the fireman. We got El Satoshi. Damn it. Anima, Mr. Pow Pow, Crypto Shart. Is that related to Fartcoin? Who knows? Matthew Smead, Neo, Vacation Time, Mr. Van Duysen, and Harlex. Is your rectum feeling better now? Actually, well, definitely after dumping a bit. Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, who likes holding a bunch of shitoshis in your Angus? I mean, I don't like it. It feels bad. But you know what the key to shitting is? The key to shitting is to, in the morning, first thing before eating anything else. I mean, you can have some blueberries or some orange juice or some shit like that. But what you should do if you really want to have a good poop is in your water in like a tablespoon of salt, and then also 5 grams of creatine. You will be flowing like crazy. You'll be flowing like water indeed. In fact, I've been studying the water form recently because I've been watching this new show called Demon Slayer. Holy shit. I've never really watched, what is it called? Anime? The cartoon shit. The Japanese cartoon shit. I've never really watched that much before. I mean, a little bit of Dragon Ball Z when I was in college, very lazy Sunday mornings, hungover as hell. But I found this show, and it's the best. It's the fucking best. It really is. I'm addicted to watching it. It's so good. He goes, total concentration, control your breathing, total concentration, water breathing, form 3, whirlwind. It's like this over and over again. And I repeat that as well. And then Elsa makes fun of me. She says, total concentration, homo breathing, form 3, homo form. It's like, what the fuck? How? What? This is not funny. It's not funny. Yeah, Demon Slayer is fire. It's fucking great, man. Are they still making new? What's it called? Episodes, because I only see 3 seasons on my Netflix right now. Yeah, Dragon Ball Z is epic. I remember watching the first season, and there was like a fight that was going on for what seemed like 20 episodes. Nothing happens ever. It's just crazy, man. The Pimpin' Grandpa says, great name, by the way. When I want to have a good poop, thanks, Grandpa, I eat a bunch of live worms and then scoop them out of my anal orifice with my fingies. I mean, I guess I shouldn't really comment until I've fully verified myself, but I feel like this might be a trap. I feel like it might be a trap. Worse than a Bitcoin trap. Much worse than a Bitcoin trap. A movie is coming out. It's also coming out of my asshole as well. Anyways, Demon Slayer. Yes, indeed. It is what it is, man. It is what it is. Saw a dragon in the clouds in Aruba right now. The eye was the dragon. Fair enough. It must be a sign. It must be a sign from the crypto gods. Shark coin is basically a cross between fart coin and chocolate pudding. Well, it sounds tasty, actually, and probably very profitable, seeing as fart coin is like the one thing that continues to defy the whole markets. In fact, I was looking at it this morning. I've added it to my list just because it's so different than every other thing in terms of charts. Like, what the hell is going on over here? My theory is that this one might actually have like a weird theory that I don't really have a way of proving is true or not, but a lot of the big accounts that you see on crypto Twitter, especially, they're all in like this collusion group that pumps, especially meme coins, together and pumps them up on their on their Twitter platforms. And these are like typically thought of as like kind of the good guys or the OGs. But it's just something that I've noticed. Like, it looks very suspicious to me. I have no way of proving it. I could be completely fucking wrong in it, of course. But goddamn, man, it really does feel that way because this chart should not look like this. It probably shouldn't look like this unless there's something that I'm completely missing, which is probably true as well. But yeah, like I said, I have absolutely no way of proving that. So who knows, man? Who knows? But it is impressive nonetheless. I mean, it is an impressive chart nonetheless compared to most other things in this market, especially. But even the old fart coins, I do suspect at some point will achieve its own selling event. Dip Wheeler coded. I don't know what that actually means, to be honest. That's true. We pumped it, says Dexro. I mean, if you did buy some, then certainly did. But there does seem to be some inorganic. Well, it looks organic because it comes from these OGs who have been around for a long time, and they continually talk about it. They continually talk it up. They have humongous fucking followings. Something just smells wrong to me there. It really does. To use a bad analogy, but yeah, it really smells weird to me. Krown, show me where the cabal touched you. I will show you exactly where they touched me, but right now the camera's not pointed towards it, so unfortunately that will have to wait until later. Actually, I'll answer this really, really quickly. I just caught this out of the side of my eye. Krister Forland, definitely from the Nordic country, Norway. Probably a great country, honestly. Maybe a stupid question, but is the price action indicator equivalent either Larson line? Oh, I have no idea what that is or what that is or who he is, to be honest. I can tell you that this is a unique indicator coded very specifically actually by one of our community members, so it should be unique in that regard. And it goes off of it goes off of his understanding of price action, and then also my understanding of price action is probably a little bit embedded in there as well. So I would imagine probably not, and especially with future updates, I think that's going to become a lot more clear, which he's actually working on. I just got a message from him this morning. But yeah. Krown, what you guys talk about it? LEO trades? What do you mean? What do we talk about? We talk about all kinds of we don't really talk about crypto, honestly, that much, but we have some pretty funny conversations. I was laughing pretty hard at a conversation we had like a few days ago, but I completely forgot what it was about. But it wasn't really about crypto. It's about our moms getting laid, something to that effect. He's a funny motherfucker, man. I love that guy. I wish that we lived closer so that we could actually hang out in real life more often, man. He's just a good dude. But a lot of the guys that I know, honestly, in the crypto space, they're very, very good dudes. I can say the Pizzino brothers, these guys are fucking top notch. Both of them, absolutely fucking love them. Obviously, I know Jason, a lot more than Michael. But man, anytime that I've spoken with these guys, anytime that I've just hung out with these guys, they've always been super, 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 super cool. Chris Crypto, he honestly is like a great guy in real life. He really is. There's a lot of these guys, who in real life they're just fucking solid dudes, guys that you would, absolutely love to be around. I can definitely tell you that. Sir Krown, you should try solo leveling. It's a really good. Oh, it's an anime. Okay. I thought you were gonna say, hey man, you need to get your power level up. Okay, your water breathing technique very off indeed. Okay, total concentration. My ass. Fucking get to it, bitch. That's what I thought was coming in your message, but it wasn't, which was very nice. What's up, Mr. Dirk on Twitter? What's up, Steve? Dude, yeah. Anita, Max, Win, Rye, and who else do we have? Doram also reposting the stream. That's awesome, man. Thank you for that. I've been seeing a lot of these comments on YouTube as well. It must be like the new scam because it'll be literally a picture of a girl's naked ass as their avatar, and then the comment will be like, "Wow, I can't imagine that I made so much money on XYZ fucking shitcoin or whatever the hell that it is." It's like, what is a new scam? It is smart. I mean, it gets your attention, that's for sure. But goddamn, who knows what's going on over there? Hey, bro, could you please stop yapping and go over Bitcoin, says Chris? Or maybe you could leave. That also works as well. We will get to it when we get to it, as always, man. Got to give time for people to join in on these things, as you know, it is an early morning, and complaining is banned as well. So shut the fuck up. Yeah, complaining actually was banned. Like, we banned complaining. That's... I don't make the rules. I don't make the rules. Krown, have you ever sounded yourself? Look up on Urban Dictionary if you don't know what it is. I like using empty pens to sound. Actually, I have no idea what that is, Grandpa. And based off of your prior comment history, I'm very scared to look that up on stream, to be honest with you, man. Anyways. Scammers know what we like. It's true, man. It's very, very true. You know, they're just trying to be more and more effective, right? Anyways, for Bitcoin here, we'll get into the analysis in just a moment. I do want to give just a couple more minutes for people to join in. I'm checking in on YouTube. We've got about 500 people watching there. And then we got on Twitter, we have another, wow, Jesus, Twitter, 840 views. But I think it doesn't, those are not like necessarily concurrent. Too Bullish on Twitter says, Dear Krown, please hold on my hand and give me a kiss in the, wait, what? In a non-sexual way. I'm scared my college kids' funds are in Fartcoin. Yes, indeed, sir. Yes, indeed. Tell me more about your financial decisions of the year 2025. It's going to go great, man. It's going to go absolutely great. Hey, what's up, Peter Underwood? Good to see you. Another good friend as well, and beautiful moderator of this channel. Have you ever seen blue waffles before? Actually, I have, Michael L. I actually do know what blue waffles are, and I educated... Elsa did not, however, and I educated on her. This was very early on within our relationship, actually, but you know, she has to learn. She has to learn American culture, because Elsa is going to be the newest American soon enough. She actually is going to be moving to the United States. She's got her, what is that, cowboy hat now? She's been practicing. She's very, very excited to go to the South, and by South I mean Florida. But yeah, we have to educate her about American culture so that she can fit in. You know, she has to feel accepted there. That's what it's all about, man. That's what it's all about. Anyways, is complaining about complaining also banned? No. Well, just complaining, yeah, that's not banned, Grandpa. Like, Jesus Christ, man. Of course not. What's banned is complaining, annoying people. That's banned. It's just banned, man. I don't know what else to say. I don't make the rules. I don't have any explanation for it. Maybe it's my shallow ego, but God damn it, man. Any complaints, they got to be banned. It is what it is. Work on the Texas accent. I think Elsa could do a little bit better with that. She still sounds like a fucking bird from Shrek. Careful immigrating. ICE does not care about your rights anymore. I mean, it seemed to have no problem in February when she came. You know, she got right through. I should let you know that the border agent actually did troll her a little bit. You know, she goes through. The guy asked Elsa, you know, a bunch of questions, as they typically do, and then he's like, "Okay, I just got the results in, and access denied. Sorry." And her face goes white, and then he goes, "Nah, I'm just kidding." And she comes in. No problem, man. No problem. GHB says, how did you end up moving to Finland, bro? Well, I mean, Elsa would be probably the biggest reason, and I quite liked it up until now, but but yeah, you know, there are some great things about Finland, of course, and the Nordic countries in general. You got great air quality, you got great water quality, but other than that, I mean, I'm really starting to kind of see the cracks in things over here. But perhaps I hold off on talking complete shit on these places until we actually move, because they can be very vindictive, I've found. Very, very vindictive. So yeah, I'll polish off this coffee, then we'll get into the actual analysis for the day. Hugh on Twitter says about Elsa, in order to fit in, she needs to gain 100 pounds, or that would be about 45 kilos for the Europeans out there, and learn to shoot a handgun. Yes, that's all that it takes, man. That's all that it takes. Where did you meet Elsa? Tinder, man. We met on Tinder, actually. Women are hot also. Women's are good. Yes. We like our women's. Sweet sword as well. Thanks, man. I quite like that sword. It's actually Anduril from the movie. Well, the Lord of the Rings movies, I suppose. It's very special. And Elsa got it for me for one of my birthdays. It was actually great, man. It was great. All right, there goes the water. Now let's talk about some Bitcoin's analysis. And let's see, where do I want to start this one? Total concentration, water breathing, form 3, TA bullshit. No. All right, so I do want to follow up on again this thread of analysis that we've been having for really the past, I guess, almost a week and a half to 2 weeks now since Bitcoin got to about $95,000. And we do have a new development over here on the daily HPDR for CME, which we can go to right here. We did actually see Bitcoin close below the median for the first time since this rally actually began back in early April, or I guess mid of April. So that is a bit of a change of behavior, at least for the medium term, as we have seen Bitcoin essentially live above it since, when was this? April 14th, when Bitcoin essentially reclaimed those lows and did put in this, pretty nice rally from about 85,000 to, almost, or sorry, not almost, but over 98,500 bucks on CME here. So losing the median for the first time. Again, it's not like a death signal. It's not like Bitcoin's going to go back to zero or anything like this, but it is a signal that, hey, we do have something new going on. Expect at least a decent consolidation around here at best. And of course, at worst, we should be expecting a fill out of the lower ends of at least the 38.2 level, probably even the 50% level as well. And those respectively are on CME, which does have a premium over spot price action, 92,700, and of course 91,000 and about 200 on the 50% level. Now that is actually very, very important here, because if we go over to the daily time frame, we can see that price action pivot has actually moved up. Well, it didn't move up recently, but over the past week, it has moved up to the new pivot of 92,900, meaning that if Bitcoin does come back down below there, and especially close a daily dildo below there, well, that's going to be a good indication that Bitcoin actually is putting in a trap here. And that change of behavior isn't just, a long-form consolidation coming here, but it's very likely a much deeper retracement, I would imagine, into the mid 80s. However, until Bitcoin actually comes back down below this region, especially closes below it, hopium still remains alive for Bitcoin to kind of, have a bit of a fake out here. I'm sure what is going on Twitter, because I haven't read it for the day yet, but I can imagine already that people are drawing this out as a herp and derp. You got your left derp, you got your herp, and then you got your right derp kind of forming over here. Valid, sure, but these sort of things are ripe for failure, especially when market conditions are opposite of it. So what does that mean? It means to me that if Bitcoin gets back above 96,000 bucks, or if it starts to really close back above the median on the HPDR, which is a little bit above 96,000 bucks on CME, that would be my indication that, hey, this is actually not going to be a bull trap. It is going to be, I wouldn't really call it a bear trap, but I would say, hey, Bitcoin's just going to continue to the upside. You're going to see 6-digit Bitcoin again relatively soon if that does happen. But until that happens, yeah, pressure is onto the downside, and downside is theoretically more likely. The reason why I say that is going over here to our daily stochastic momentum oscillator. We're seeing it continue to nosedive. Now the pivot is 97,339, and that's going to be spilling into the other higher term timeframes, in fact. So the 2-day time frame is going to be freshly crossing down. This one closing tonight, by the way, so it will confirm down if Bitcoin is below 96,900. I mean, basically 97,000 bucks. The 3-day time frame is also closing tonight, and that one I don't think is actually going to cross down here, or actually it very well could. If Bitcoin does close today below 94,100, then yes, we will see the daily, 2-day, and 3-day once again align with each other to the downside. The 5-day time frame is kind of is still traveling up here, so I doubt that this one turns down anytime soon. I mean, this is still 81,300, but this is the odd man out in terms of time frames, because when we go to the biweekly time frame, well, what do you know? It is nice and down as long as Bitcoin's below 100,000 bucks. When we go to the 3-week time frame, if I can bring it up right here, it's also going to be down as long as Bitcoin's below 102 almost. If we go to the monthly time frame, we're going to see it also obviously down as long as Bitcoin's below 100,000 bucks, and then we already know the bi-monthly and the quarterly as well. So all of these things do make me look at this as a strong potential for a bull trap within this region, but again, it is not confirmed at all whatsoever until really we see Bitcoin closing below about 92,900. Until then, yeah, I do think that it is a likelihood. I do think that Bitcoin will test some downside here, but ultimately it is it is certainly unconfirmed. And then we can obviously talk about, general targets to the downside if this area is broken. Same thing as before, basically. But, first I'd be looking for maybe a very short-term bounce in like the mid 90 or 91s or something like this around that 200 simple on the daily, which is traveling up right now. I don't think that would hold things. possible for a bit of a trap there on the other end, but I doubt it. I'd be looking at that as an objective signal that Bitcoin will see sub $90,000 again, probably closer to the mid 80s if I had to guess, as Bitcoin does put in a much more prolonged consolidation range here, which again I do think would be long term more better. No, not more better, but long term it would be more bullish if Bitcoin were to do something like this, where it spends maybe another month or two consolidating within this region between, the highs of last week or basically last Friday, and then the lows of what we saw in early April. Maybe not as far down as that, maybe not as high as this, but, could come easily down into the low 80s if that does play out. But if we were to get something like that, I do think that the silver lining, again, I'm just drawing out LARP lines here. I don't know if this, I'm not saying that it's going to happen exactly like this, but if we do get something like this, that would make me a lot more bullish for this cycle continuing onwards and forwards into, at least the beginning of Q4 of this year. So that would take us into end of September. So I do think that kind of aligns, at least with that sort of time frame. I really highly doubt that even if Bitcoin did trap here and comes down to the low 80s, that would actually make new lows below the April lows. I do think that those lows will hold for a while, maybe even for forever, but I don't feel very confident saying that, to be honest. But I wouldn't bet on them breaking, at least in the short and medium term here, for what it's worth. Anyways, on top of that, I do want to also acknowledge that there is indeed bearish divergence that we identified on some of our medium to higher term time frame RSI oscillators. We can see 12-hour time frame does have indeed 3 drives of bearish divergence here. That one's coming down rather rapidly now, and the next sort of generalized target would actually be the 55, which is significantly lower. 14-hour time frame, which is a new time frame that I've been looking at recently, has actually 4 or 5 drives of bearish divergence here. And then the daily time frame does not have any drives of bearish divergence, but it is losing the bullish control zone very likely if Bitcoin does close here or lower by end of day. In fact, I can tell you exactly the price that Bitcoin would need to close above today in order to maintain the bullish control zone, because Caretaker's RSI can forecast this, and we do see that it is essentially $95,000 even almost. So as long as Bitcoin's below there, especially for today's closure, well, again, downside is going to become more and more likely. And then when I look at this this indicator that I've been kind of working on in the background here, again, I don't know if I'm going to release this. I've been getting some questions about it, but I'm still testing this, and I'll be testing it for a while. What I'm just referring to as a Krown oscillator, this thing has crossed down as of recent. This would be Sunday evening, and is having the dots of death at the top as well. So when you see a cross down plus the dots, that typically is an indication that things are going to be moving in that direction. For example, the last time we saw something like this was back here at 104,000 US dollars. And well, you already know the rest is history from there. Anyways, I see that my live streaming service just fucking crapped out. So hopefully it's still working. All right, it is still working, which is good. We'll get to the super chat soon enough here. I just want to make sure that I hit all of my notes just to make sure that we're all on the same page, and then we can move on. We went over the price action pivots, we went over HPDR, we went over stochastic momentum, we went over RSI, and even the Krown oscillator there as well. So that's pretty much it for me. Of course, I should also let you know that you can actually try out all of these indicator packages now for free for the first 7 days. That being the price action pivots indicator, that being Caretaker's full indicator suite. So that's the HPDR, which in my opinion is like some of the best stuff available, and then of course the RSI, which you just saw right here, which is incredibly popular. I mean, it is for good reason. And then of course, actually we don't have it available for the advanced stochastic. I need to create a monthly plan so that we can offer 7 days free for that as well, because that would be cool. Anyways. Yeah, that's where we'll end it for Bitcoin. Now we can get into the comments of the day. I'll bring up Twitter over here as well. Take a sip of this water here too, and then let's jump into it. The dots of death. What the fuck? That doesn't sound good. No, I'm just, it is not good, but of course it needs to be taken into consideration with other signals, which to be fair are actually happening. So yeah. Anyways, let's see what else has got lined up over here. She's got already a bunch of super chats. I see Steven Schickman is consistently number 1, as always. He's looking at Doggy BTC. All right, let's check out this one. Can't imagine it's doing like super well, but let's see. Maybe don't judge it before we see it. And not doing super well, but I've been saying the same thing on this one as I have for a while now. Hey, something doesn't see. Oh, this is doggy Bitcoin, not doggy versus the dollar. But you're coming back down to these lows that you saw from that last price action pivot. This was August 2024. If you remember, during that time, like the whole market took a fucking mega dump, and people were going absolutely fucking crazy. But in this region right here, I kind of actually would be expecting a bit of a low. That does imply that this probably does trade a little bit closer to this low. The price action pivot of about what 157 or 158 satoshis. You do have monthly lower highs, yes. So it's like I probably shouldn't be giving this one the benefit of the doubt, but doggy coin has at least stood around for multiple cycles now, and typically does have higher lows in the macro structure for the the US dollar pairing here. So I give this one the benefit of the doubt because it does actually have a higher high compared to this little swing high. So I suspect that you're probably going to get a short-term move closer here, bounce, trade sideways for a while, and then hopefully for your sake does do something like this. Although when I think about that, that seems quite unlikely to me, just because really it's going to be gaining versus Bitcoin in a trend fashion. It really hasn't done that before. So anyways, my point is that, yeah, you probably retest around, somewhere close to that low, probably bounce. Personally, I'd be looking for a lower high on that bounce compared to the highs that you saw from December of last year. All right, and then you're also looking at doggy versus the dollar. This one, okay, yes, this is a chart that I remember now. Okay, all right, I thought I was going crazy there. As I've been saying for a while on doggy versus dollar, I don't think it's going to take out those April lows anytime soon, but I do think based off of this last weekly closure, you probably test closer down around this region, maybe not all the way down there, but somewhere close to that white 200 moving average on the weekly time frame. Let's just say like 15 cents, give or take a little bit from that number. I don't think you're going to break down, actually. I do think similar to the Bitcoin pairing, you're going to see something like this, close to those lows and then bounce out, and then you get another one of those decent moves, because it's really hard for me to not see this one at least trying to bounce up towards a quarter sometime in the next like 3 to 4 months, I'd imagine. So yeah, that's basically all that I got to say about doggy. If I'm going off of the monthly, it doesn't look good. If I'm going off the quarterly, it doesn't look great, but also not super, super terrible. If I'm going off of the 3 week, also not great. Yeah, higher term timeframes are kind of in a bad place here, but yeah, I highly doubt you're going to see like a real breakdown to new lows before having a greater bounce from this region first. You are seeing the lower end of your higher term time frame start to turn up again. So yeah, I'd be betting on yet another bounce from here after some short-term downside. Anima says, hey sir, could you take a look at my highly esteemed Solami coins on the daily and weekly? Sure. I'm guessing you mean Solanas, which I have right here because I accidentally hit the alphabetize on my stupid fucking symbol list on TradingView. I really hate that you can't go back to what you had before. It's really annoying because I accidentally hit that shit all the time. Anyways, salamis, my salamis. I do want to acknowledge that 5-day time frame, probably weekly as well, is switching around into a silver cross to the downside. So that does tell me that general rally should be faded here. But similar to doggy coin, like I really have a hard time seeing this one trade below the April lows before having a greater bounce first. Perhaps something like this, comes down maybe close to there. It doesn't necessarily have to get all the way down there, to be fair, but then bounces up probably closer to the 50% level and then comes down. Because as of right now, this thing on this bounce has not even gotten close to the 382 level, which is usually kind of like a pity bounce target, if it is going to be like super bearish long term. So that does throw me off and make me say, hey, I don't think you're going to be breaking down below this low, although you might come back down in the short term close to it. I do think that you will, very likely bounce up at some point. Now, if you are on the daily, we can see the price action pivot to the upside is 154 essentially. So if you could close a daily above there, then I would say that this thing does have kind of I don't want to say a straight line, but very likely a magnet target towards about $180. And that's kind of where I would want to see this one on a bounce, somewhere between $180 to $200 almost as well. So yeah, hopefully that's helpful, man. All right, Lev Ashton says, need a lobotomized PA on Chill Guy Zer. I'm Sir Lobotomite, so I can help you with this. Let's go to this one. What a great chart, man. Super chill, super chill. We're just losing all kinds of money, and we feel chill about it. I'm feeling chill. Are you feeling chill? Who's feeling chill? Elsa, do you feel chill? I love going down. Hold on.
Oh, okay.
I love going down 92.5%. Very chill. Very, very chill. Very fucking chill. I love being chill as fuck. Feeling chill, bro. No cap. Not a very chill chart. Look, I don't know if it's topped out already or if it gets another like just weird altcoin rally. The long-term direction is down, sir. Very chill, by the way. If it does get a bounce, I'd be looking at the weekly yellow moving average here, which is the 21 EMA. That's just under 10 cents now, but that will be moving down over time. And this could very well be the high of the bounce already. I mean, shit. I mean, it's so chill, though. It's so chill. It must be going up, right? I mean, you're seeing daily stochastic also to get to the highest level it's ever been ever and freshly turning down. And if we draw a regression here, I mean, have these been the highs? Kind of. If you can even call these highs, are so pathetic that I will pin your message. It's Michael Blass says, it's a terrible crypto scam. It's not very chill to me, sir. Maybe be more open-minded to chill guys. All right. That's right. No spamming and no complaining. This must be like the weirdest community to just accidentally find on the internet. It's like, what the fuck? I imagine there's a lot of this going on. Like, let's see. Okay. Yes, Mr. Christopher Forland has actually. Okay, so you clarified Lars online is designed to keep you in the market on daily and out if it closes under. Could be nah. I really don't understand the specifics of what his is. From what you just stated, it would sound like extremely fucking simple and like that's not going to work. But maybe I'm just not understanding because it's probably difficult to communicate in a relatively short message. So, but at face value, from what you said, no. First off, I don't even think that would work. Like it wouldn't be useful. And second off, no, that is not what the price action pivots is going off of. Coffee Please Non says Vader AI. It is a thing. It's Vader AI by Virtuals. Okay, so this is some sort of an AI agent. Looks like the top of a rally to me, man. Looks like a great place for a top to me. Yeah, this is the highly esteemed altcoin chart of destiny. First, you get your big bad rally. Amazing! Holy shit, we're going to the moon and beyond. I'm going to be rich as fuck with my Vader AI coins. And then, after your usually less than 2 month long rally, hey, what the fuck, man? I'm losing all kinds of Vader coins. I'm getting my nuts busted in my Angus. What the fuck is going on here? Why does this thing keep on going down? Is there perhaps any news?
You should put the hot spring
I probably should. Yeah, I mean, this is the real GIF for this chart. Elsa will love this GIF. She's gonna love this one. Anyways,
I don't see any gifts.
oh, you're about to see something. I'll tell you that. You're about to see something. Anyways, yeah, man, this looks like the next like major high to me. I think that this one's coming down a lot. I think that this one's coming back down probably to these lows over a long enough period of time, but there's going to be bounces along the way. It's something like this, blah, 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 blah. Oh no. Continue on with the long-term trend. Crazy. My Vader coins were a scam? What? These bastards lied to me.
Think about if someone new comes here and all he sees is that people run.
Well, he wasn't meant to stay in this place then. Crypto Shart says Tau on the daily, please. Short-term outlook. All right. TAO. I remember this one was popular many moons ago, but perhaps not so much since. We're on a daily right now. I think the LARP lines are going to be generally correct here, but not going to bounce as high. Something like this. Wherever the 200 simple is, which is this white moving average here, is where I think that this rally will get arrested, if not sooner than that. I mean, it's already kind of looking a little bit weak in this region, but as far as the price action pivots indicator goes, it is consolidating, and I think that that is the correct call right here. I wouldn't call this consolidation resolved as long as it's below about 380 to the upside versus 340 to the downside. Whichever side it closes above or below first is the side that I'd be going with. Now, personally, I'm obviously going to be biased toward the downside here. Momentum oscillators are positioned to the downside, and long-term, this is, a downtrend, obviously. So betting on the same direction of that trend continuing is usually going to be the winning side, but yeah, I really wouldn't put it out the door for this one to try a bit more of a rally to the upside first. So if it does break this area to the upside, I think that this thing could rally to like 430-ish, above the 200 simple. But that would be kind of like an area of, or a locus of control almost. Yeah. Other than that, I don't really have much to say about it. It's a little bit too new to really give it like any super long form analysis. If you're just talking about like the very short term, I would say short term, I mean, you just hit the top side of your range, you're probably going to come down at least to the middle of your range at 350 or 355. But that, I don't know like how short term you mean, to be honest. So yeah. X Ren says, morning, good sir. Good morning to you as well, sir. Coin daily, weekly, please. Plocks. Yeah, here we go. I got Coinbase still on the list. Coinbase really looks to me like this one's putting, again, it's a consolidation here. It does look to me like it is putting in a high. It is consolidating around a couple of major moving averages, the green 55 and then the blue 377, which have switched around into a bearish posturing. So as long as it's below those, I would say that this one's more likely to try another downside move than upside move. But of course, just like the prior chart that we looked at, I would be looking at the range plays here between 210 to the upside versus 195 to the downside as, essentially defining a breakout or breakdown. If it breaks out to the upside, next area of interest is going to be about 230-ish region, somewhere around there, maybe even all the way up to 240. And if it does break to the downside, similar to most other things, I don't think it's going to make new lows, but I do think you could easily come back down like 180-ish region, something like that. And of course, remember, we have an event coming up tomorrow as well. We have the FOMC. So, who knows what the fuck they're going to say, but what we do know is that markets can and very likely will move. Not always, but it's usually a good bet that they will move. Although the direction of that, very, very difficult to get unless you're an insider. Jason Sinkar says, Toshi, the face of base. Okay, god damn it, what is this? Toshi coins. All right. Yeah, looks great, man. Definitely going to the moon. Great place for another lower high. You had a great rally, but I think the rally's over, man. Not much history to be going off of here. I mean, it's really only been around since 2025 began. I would treat this one very bearish as long as you're below whatever the hell this high was here from this past Saturday. The trend is your friend. And the trend is very much to the downside here, even though the price action pivots is accurately gauging that this is the last bullish pivot. That is true. I mean, this was a short-term uptrend, yes, but I think when we go to the 5-day, or it's not even going to populate on 5-day, but maybe even like a 3-day, 3-day is going to show this as the bearish pivot. Yeah, and I 100% agree with that. So over a long enough period of time, you can expect that it will retest the lows and then make new lows. But that is a long period of time. Are there bounces in between? Sure. Is it going to happen anytime soon? Maybe not. But over a long enough period of time, indeed. Uleith says, please look at Ava AI. Okay, a lot of these new ones today that I... Oh, no, I didn't. Okay, sorry about that. Goofy Dude says, happy Cinco de Mayo from Redondo Beach. It's actually the 6th of May for us, but it's all good. You are still in the 5th. Did you know that May 6th in Finland is National Do Not Lose Weight Day? Anyways, you're looking at Ethereum on the daily, weekly, monthly. Por favor, homito. I am homito, yes. Homo breathing intact. Let's go to Form 3 and analyze Ladyboy Ethereum at 1805 here. Very powerful, very, very lovely. Also Ladyboy. But looking at Ethereum, I mean, God, like this is, I don't even trade Ethereum. I don't invest in Ethereum. I have nothing to do with Ethereum, but for fuck's sake, like this chart really bothers me because by all accounts, this thing should have had a bounce above $2,000 already. It just can't buy a fucking, it really is a flaccid PP, and Vitalik is just the perfect representation for such an asset. Like how can things be so perfect? I don't understand. Like I said, by all accounts, I still have to even say, like, I do really think that this thing's going to put in a big bounce into mid or low 2000s. Long term, yeah, it's bearish, but goddamn, man, when you're coming off of a major movement average like this on an asset that like is theoretically not a full on scam, you should have a pretty decent bounce from there. And yes, this has been a bounce already, yes, but it's better to bet on this thing coming back above $2,000. That's just my personal take. But hey, can it come back down and retest around 1650 first? Maybe, yeah. I mean, with the way that things are looking, like this is just, it truly is pathetic. It truly is pathetic. But even with how pathetic it is, it's just very difficult for me to imagine that it makes new lows from here. I do think you get a pullback, and then there really should be a shot up above $2,000. I think that it could even get all the way up to like 25 or 2,700, just wherever the 200 simple is on the daily here. But for fuck's sake, man, this thing just takes every chance possible and fails. And you know what? The monthly stochastic oscillator has been keeping us, grounded on this one, despite my personal thoughts in that as long as the monthly stochastic oscillator is crossed to the downside, which happened in May of 2024, just don't be bullish on it. Just don't be bullish. Now, if I am going to make an argument for Ethereum here, I guess I already have it in there, but it should be hitting this trendline regression that has held in the lows from 2019 and 2022 cycles. And it will be hitting there at the end of this month, so when June begins. But in order to cross back onto the upside, I mean, it's not going to happen at the end of this month, for sure. Well, I shouldn't say for sure, but very unlikely to. You need almost a 2x to 33.69. So, if it does break this, I'd be looking actually for a bounce to happen after that, but that bounce, extremely high probability to fail. So yeah. As far as daily goes, as you asked, if I had to bet on a direction here, it's going to be down. You got bearish divergence on daily stochastic oscillator and it's positioned to the downside as long as you're below 1853, which is healthily below right now. I don't think they're going to make new lows yet, though. Just not yet. Like Buterol's got to get a chance to bounce a little bit, just like everyone else. It's unfair. This market is unfair. All right. Ulith says, please look at AV or AVA AI. All right, this is a new one. A few new ones today, but let's see. It's on Kraken? Okay, it's on Mexi, yeah. Really big bounce right here, really impressive. Similar to Fart Derp as well. But, just like Fart Derp, I don't think you're going to be taking out this January high probably ever again, to be honest. But it can't, this is a very impressive bounce. So can it go more? I mean, if I think the rest of the market is getting ready for a pullback here, and this thing's also seeing momentum come to the downside below 8 cents, which it's actually very close to right now. So maybe it doesn't happen today, but I do have to be on the side of saying, hey, I think that you are in the process of putting in a local high here. As long as you're below about 9.5 cents, I'd be treating this area as a local high, but there might be one more run towards about 9.25 or 9.5 cents. I just don't think it's going to bust to the upside there. I think you're going to get another rejection and then come down, and you should see this thing come back down, towards 5 cents, I would guess. So yeah. But is there one more rally attempt before that happens? At some point, I really do think you will see at least 5 or 6 cents. And maybe that could be a low. And maybe you do try some busting action after that. But we'll see. I suppose this one a little bit more difficult just because it is newer and has had a really impressive move here, to be fair. This thing went up from like 1.5 cents all the way up to 10 cents. I mean, that's it's basically 10x almost. Put that in percentage terms. Wait, no, that's not right. I'm doing momentum math all wrong today. 429%. Quite impressive nonetheless. So anyways, Sir Woods says, my fucking man, Mr. Woods. Yeah, let's look at some traditional markets here. Got SPY futures right here. I was expecting this rally to extend a little bit more towards the 200 simple. So that is also why I keep, I'm a little bit more open-minded in the short term here of like maybe one more attempt to the upside, but I don't think you're going to be like busting on through this area right here. I mean, this scenario that we're currently in does make me lean towards a downside resolution of tomorrow's event with FOMC, because a lot of the time what you see leading into, a highly anticipated event like the FOMC is that price will approach it from whatever direction, and then when the FOMC happens, you see it trade in the opposite direction. Not always, but this does seem to happen more often than not. And in this case, obviously, not Bitcoin, but Bitcoin too. But SPY futures have been rallying up into this date. You're below the 200 simple, you're seeing momentum turn down, you're still on a lower high compared to the last swing high from early April. It's like that has a lot of makings of another local high. Just like Bitcoin, though, I don't think it's going to be making new lows below the April lows on a pullback, but I also don't really have a good idea of where this thing could pull back to. I guess the kind of obvious area would be somewhere around the 50% levels. As soon as a local high is confirmed, that would be 52.72. But I just realized you didn't ask about a fucking daily time frame. Let's go to the 4 hour. Let's go to the 4 hour time frame. Does it try for another short rally here? Maybe on an hourly. This one's honestly quite difficult for me. If I had to guess, I would probably bet on maybe a short-term rally towards 56.75 region. But especially as long as you're below last Friday's high, I'd be treating this thing as a lot more likely to pull back from this region than to try another, new high on this rally. Let's say, 55.75. I'm curious if we have any sort of divergences over here, because that could maybe make some sort of a call a little bit easier. See, the 4 hour has many drives of bearish divergence, even a phantom drive on this last high. Price action pivot is showing a bearish pivot as long as you're below 5,700. So yeah, I do think that rallies probably get sold into. Hourly, no divergences, no nothing there. So yeah, I think that's all I got for this one. I think the daily is a little bit of an easier look than the lower term timeframes, just to be 100% frank with you. Mr. Kidsey says, "Hey Krown, great show. Thanks, man. Thoughts on Cubic?" No, because I have no idea what it is. Let's go look at it. All right, on Mexi. Okay, already off to a bad start, and even worse, the more that we see it, it's like, Jesus, the more information you get, the worse it gets. Let's go to regular scale. Not that much different, to be fair, but yeah. Anyways, it's the fastest blockchain in existence, apparently. Any trade setup ideas? Yeah, get the fuck out. Look, man, I'll give you a secret about not just the crypto markets, but most markets. Fundamentals actually don't matter. I said it. Holy shit. Especially in cryptocurrency, because most of these things, like, they don't have fundamentals anyways. They don't have fucking earnings reports, they don't have shit like this. But yeah, this, as far as chart goes, I'm always going to hate someone that does this. This is the traditional shitcoin of death chart, where you get the Burj Khalifa over here and then you just fall for the rest of your life. And, yes, you get your pumps every once in a while, like this one here. And maybe it gets another one. In fact, over a long period of time, it certainly will. But these are selling opportunities, in my experience. So let's go look at it from this angle as well, just to double check. I mean, maybe something's being hidden. Let's go to a weekly. Yeah, I guess it wouldn't take too much for this thing to bounce up more, but see what the daily levels are. Daily could easily bounce again here. And if it does bounce and if it does put in an extension of this rally, the very obvious target would be this white moving average, which is 20,000, whatever the fuck currency that is. But again, I'd really stick with that statement that, generally rallies on something like this are to sell. I just don't think it's going to be getting above this high this cycle, and, very possibly for forever if history of most altcoins is anything to go off of. Does happen every once in a while, but yeah, that's how they get you, man. They tell you one of the buzzwords: fastest blockchain, quantum. What's another buzzword? Turing complete. What's another buzzword, guys? Marketing buzzwords in this space. They get you with this shit. We don't really even know what the fuck it means. It doesn't even mean anything to begin with. And then you're like, holy shit, this thing really is, it's the next thing. This is quantum resistant ledger technology that is highly optimized for the fucking Turing complete blockchain speed. something like that. People just make shit up, man. Nikki Page, what's up, man? Yes, I make shit. I make up shit all the time as well, like what I just said there. But it's not maybe 100% accurate, but it is directionally accurate, I would say. Okay. Crypto Shark says Trump summoned XRP army to Alcatraz duty. Wait, what? Wait, what's up? Said something about duty. Yeah. So we spoke about XRP on the Saturday. Yeah, the Saturday Big Five, and I was saying, hey, this is looking like a lower high to me at the 382 level, and we have seen it switch around into a bearish pivot. It has come down now to the target that we were looking at, or very close to it, which is the 200 simple here at officially 207 and change. But are you going to bounce there and reverse? It ain't looking like it to me, man. But theoretically, maybe you do. So maybe it's very, very ever so slightly a little bit lower in the short term. But, with the way that the 5-day closed last night, this is really starting to look like a swing high. And I actually do think it will be coming below $2, probably closer to this green moving average here, which is a little bit above 180. So, this is starting to switch into an actual downtrend on the higher term timeframes. The 5-day especially. 10-day is not going to officially have it right now, but maybe below 5 days should have it. Yeah, 3 days coming down, 2 days. I mean, this is really looking like another local high. Does it make a new low below those April lows? Again, I think most things probably won't in the short term, but can it come down close to there and then bounce? And then maybe try, another rally. Yeah, definitely possible. But yeah, I personally, if I'm just giving my opinion on it, which is completely worthless, to be honest, I'm wrong all the time on these things. But I do think that it is switching around into the long term trend of doom and despair. Anyways. Goop Loop. Goop Loop. It's a great name, but no comment, man. Oh, there is. All right. Post. Oh, okay. You say, can you look at Lumia? Lumia. Okay. Lumia. All right. Lumia. This is a new one. Wow. Really good, man. Really, really good. Congratulations to you. You found the shittiest chart of the day. Holy fuck. It's amazing, man. Tell him what he's won. You've won a nuclear explosion. This is what most shitcoins do. They pump up once and then they go down for forever. This one didn't even get to pump recently as well. While the rest of the market was spending the last week making new highs in their rallies, this thing already put in its highs 1 week before April even ended. Yeah, this one probably comes closer to this low, and I would imagine it probably does make a new low at some point, but maybe get another bounce before then. So perhaps it looks something like this, bounce up, maybe like 32, 33, 35 region, and then comes down. I mean, this one has a pretty nasty trend here. So again, with these things, you are going to get pumps out of nowhere, and sometimes they can be, really massive, monumental pumps, but as you can see, they never hold. I mean, the best it could ever do was in its infant life where it had 3 weeks of upside, and that wasn't even an uptrend. It was just like a general pump. So yeah, pretty bad, man. And again, when I'm talking shit about these charts, I ain't talking shit about you, man. You're probably a very fine person, a very fine goop loop. I don't really know what that is, but it's probably good. This chart, however, not good. Not goop loop, bad loop, very bad loop. Anyways, Dexro says, hey, Dad, can you check out Troll Soul? Oh, we're going to be getting into that boy's soul real fucking quickly here. Very, very new. I don't know how much I'm going to trust analysis on this one. Yeah, I don't trust technicals on this thing, man. I know you asked about a full hour. I still wouldn't even trust it here. If I had to call it, maybe a short-term rally back up to like 3.25, 3.5 cent, but I don't feel confident on this, man. TA is very limited in its capacity already, and when you have this much lack of history, it's just really can't trust shit. So yeah. I really shouldn't. I don't want to add anything because I don't think that it's just going to be useful. I don't have an accurate idea at all of what this thing's doing. Because, as you've seen with most of these shitcoins, when they're very, very new, that is the opportunity that they get to just pump to the fucking moon and beyond. Maybe this thing has more on this one. And then it enters into the inevitable. But as far as right now, I like the boy's soul, the troll soul. It's a good one. Crypto Forever 2019 says sub squid SQD. Is this a stonk? SQD. No, it is not. Okay, this one having a really epic rally here. Wow, this is probably the best shitcoin chart that we've seen today, because it's actually making new highs consistently. It's been just straight up since what? Since April? Jesus, man. It even put in a higher low in April, whereas most things were putting in lower lows. So quite impressive, but with a name like this, I'm going to be quite skeptical. But hey, you got to give credit where credit is due, and this thing looks like it wants more. It actually looks like it wants more. That's fucking crazy, man. So perhaps it's in that early life of a of a shitcoin where it gets to pump to the moon and beyond, and then the inevitable happens. But for right now, I mean, this rally is getting very extended right here. Of course, you can see even your daily stochastic also. I mean, it's spending a lot of time in this critical zone. Like, I don't know how much this current rally has before it turns around. This looks like end stage parabolic rally to me, but it can still trade up more before it actually reverses. So, I'd be cautiously bullish on it, I guess. But when it does reverse, it's going to happen really, really fast. But yeah, this looks like end stage stuff to me. Again, still in the short term, probably does have more, but there's really not much else to be going off of on something like this. Again, a little bit too new. So yeah, let me get back onto the YouTube comments over here. I gotta recognize that. I have a little bit of limited time myself today as well, so just need to make sure that everything's good there. Let's see what else we got. Krown, are you woke or are you canceled? What do you think? You've been on this channel long enough, ma'am. Let's see. Sonic. Sonic, I believe, is formerly FTM, right? Phantom. My Phantom coins. Not good. Not super impressive. Also not the worst shitcoin of all time, but I don't know if I'm going down to a daily here. I do think that this is shaping up to be a lot more like another lower high. So I probably do look for it to come back down to that April 30th low. Probably breaks it. If it does, then I'll be looking for it to officially test the lows. But let's see what the monthly looks like. I don't think you're going to trend to new lows, so that's a thing. But yeah, monthly, as long as the monthly stochastic also is positioned to the downside, which it will be as long as you're below 88 cents. I'd be heavily cautious on something like this. Give it some time, because even if it does end up being bullish later on, if it does end up being bullish later on, it very likely, trade sideways here for a long time anyways. So, got to think opportunity cost. But yeah, if I had to call the short term, I'd just be angled to the downside for right now. Anything else? I mean, wouldn't really take too much for this thing to get like a decent bounce, but Jesus, man. Don't want to front run that just yet. Let's see. The Supra says, good evening, sir. What's up, man? Blender on the daily. Blender. Okay. Where do I know this name from? Blender. Not on TradingView. So, okay. I see there's no E. All right. Let's try this. Yes, there is indeed a blender, and it's very bad. Very, very bad, in fact. I have the same thing to say about this as I do as most shitcoins. Yes, every once in a while you're going to get one of these pumps over here. Maybe that happens. Maybe you get lucky here and it pumps up to like 30 cents, but these are all sells. And you're playing a very difficult game. It's basically guess when the next pump out of nowhere comes. I mean, volatility is very low here, so some sort of a big move is very likely to occur. And momentum, wouldn't take too much to turn this thing back up, but I'll just put it like that, man. If it does pump up there, you know exactly where I'd want to sell this thing. FTM is basically a ghost chain, according to the dev. Sonic is where their energy is spent. Okay, so is it a new thing? I mean, is it a new chart? I would imagine they have the same chart. It looks like the same chart to me in the more short term. It's just Sonic doesn't have the same activity, the same history as FTM. So yeah. Andrew Cronje says this. Sure. Who is he, and is he trustworthy? Not FTM Sonic. Okay, they really do look the same in the short term. Let's see. Let me verify this. Maybe I'm wrong. Dude, come on. Like, don't give me this bullshit. Look at this chart. Now look at it. Or actually, we just need to go back. This is Sonic in the short term. Okay, this is Sonic in the short term. Oh, fuck it. This is FTM. It's the same chart in the short term, man. It's just not including all the shitty behavior before this. That's the only difference, man. You've been fooled. You've been fooled. All right, what else we got? What else we got over here? A lot of people very mad that I typed in FTM and not Sonic, but guys, you can verify this yourselves. It's the same fucking chart in the short term. Is this chart any different than this chart? You can't even tell that I switched it. You can't even fucking tell that I switched it, for fuck's sake. Look, this chart, this chart, this chart, this chart. No, bro, it's Sonic. It's Sonic, man. It's a new one and it's really good, I promise. Sonic, FTM, Sonic, FTM, Sonic, FTM, Sonic, FTM, Sonic, FTM. Same fucking thing. For fuck's sake. Is PP dead, says Gran Torino. I don't know. Let's look at it. I listened to a podcast of this guy who I think he was like 22 or something, and he's like, he is the definition of a degenerate gambler, and I think he put like all of his money, which was actually millions of dollars that he I think won from gambling or something, into PP, and he actually made a shit ton of money in PP as well. It sounded like, but who knows if he's still holding it? Is it done? Is it dead? I wouldn't say. It's got a better chart compared to most shit coins, to be fair. Like, look at this, man. At least it's held above its prior macro cycle lows. So there's that. You know, there is that. Bro, do you mean the Sonic burgers? Sonic the Hedgehog. I forgot that Sonic is a fast food. Did you know that we have a fast food restaurant called Sonic's?
No.
We have Sonic's, Denny's, Wendy's,
Too many.
Popeyes,
Too many.
Long John Silver's. We got all,
Wendy's?
yeah, we got all kinds of shitcoin restaurants. PP is I mean, to be fair, it does look a lot better than most shitcoins that we've seen today. I mean, just the fact that it's actually held an uptrend for a while, but you know, it is looking to me like a lot of these things do want to, I mean, this one's already confirmed a local high right here, but probably do have another swing to the downside. But I still don't think this one's going to make a new low just yet. I think, you know, I think at worst you come close to those lows and then bounce again, get something like this perhaps, get one of those bounces out of nowhere. But yeah, if there's any sort of shitcoin that I can be a little bit more lenient on, I suppose it'd be this one, just because it doesn't have the traditional sort of death chart where it literally just goes down from left to right. So fair enough. All right. That Sonic and FTM thing is very concerning because I don't even watch these shitcoins and I know that. So, man, I'm sure you've done your research and read the white paper and shit like that. But Sonic is bullish, FTM is bad. Dexro says, I see some of the worst charts ever on your stream. Not going to lie. I know. But every once in a while, you get a really fucking good one. And that's one of the reasons why I do these streams, because you do find out about some pretty fucking cool stuff every once in a while. But for the most part, yeah, it's garbage. Anyways, Polkadot and Near shitcoin. Actually, let's just do one.
The BNB.
Huh?
The last one.
Oh, I'll do. Okay, yeah, sorry about that. I missed that from TNT Sailing. BNB. Okay, dyslexia getting me again. Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's not as shitty as 99% of the charts that we've seen today. The price action pivots indicator has given us a range play here between 625 to the upside versus about 525 to the downside. Obviously, if you break above about 625 to the upside, then I think that this thing could, I mean, at least 680, maybe 700, maybe even makes a new high from there. I mean, this thing has had and has held long-term macro uptrends. Like, Is this price action weird as fuck over here? Yeah. Is it highly suspect? Yes. CZ runs this thing. It's a fucking Chinese company, obviously. Okay. I don't say that to be racist, but for fuck's sake, like look into the way that they do their business. Like for real, for fucking real. Anyways, as far as BNB goes, yes, this over here does look very, very bizarre, but it's hard to bet against just because the crypto cartel runs deep, I suppose. Anyways, I would, however, say the same thing here as I would about Bitcoin. I personally have to be more on the defensive side, aka, expecting a further correction or, pullback or maybe even a long-term downtrend, as long as bless you, sir, as long as the monthly stochastic oscillator is positioned to the downside, which by the way did have bearish divergence on the last high and remains to the downside as long as it's below 734, which it's trading at just under $600 right now. And by the way, the last time that we saw this signal was coming off of the end of the last market cycle, by the way, in 2021. You got this first cross down here, second cross down here. Where was that? That was right here on the bull trap. So this does honestly look quite similar. So if you're asking my personal opinion, yeah, I do think that it will come down, but this one's a very, very difficult one because it doesn't play very technically in my experience. Well, it is what it is. All right. Let's see what else we got. Yes, bro, the FTM and Sonic is the same project with a different name. Exactly. Like TradingView doesn't update their tickers. Like if I want to be serious about this, TradingView doesn't update their tickers like that. So it's like if they change their name, it's going to be the same chart, but they don't need to change the ticker. It's the same fucking thing though. Like I think that was rather obvious from anyone who has eyes and also a brain as well. Not myself, though. I do not have a brain, usually. Anyways, Thorchain for David Noriega. Is that, is that Colombia? Is that the Colombian peso? I think that's the first time I've seen a Colombian here. That's cool. Thorchain, all right. This is Rune. Okay, this is a Rune. Great chart, man. Wow, amazing. Again, like when you're playing shitcoins like this, you're playing that game that I think is really difficult to win. It's like every once in a while, yes, you're going to get a massive fucking pump up, but is it going to be this one here? I mean, the long term is very obviously to the downside. This thing does not make new higher lows from cycle to cycle, and it does not make new highs, more importantly, from cycle to cycle as well. And here's your real chart, man. Like, look, even if this thing rallied all the way up to $3.50 or $4, I would be massively bearish on it. But that's what makes these shitcoins difficult, is that they can have those kind of pumps out of nowhere and then just, give it up straight after that. And so it becomes very, very difficult to just say, hey, yeah, it's fucking bearish, because you probably do get one of those pumps, somewhere in this region, just by, again, the very unvirtuous signal of retesting your prior macro cycle low. So yeah, monthly price action pivot is showing heavy bearishness as long as you're below about $7.50. So it's ugly, but I wouldn't rule out, another one of those bounce attempts in this region. It might not play out this month, it might not play out next month, but I actually do think that you will get another one of those decent bounces before moving lower overall. But again, the long term is all the same, down, fucking down. Very bad, sir. Very, very bad. All right. Calamity on YouTube says, Sir Crownius Maximus. I like this. I like this a lot. Turbo on the 4-hour and daily. Okay. Turbo coin. This one's going to be great. I can already feel it in my plums. Actually, not as bad as most things we've seen today, to be fair. Does look like it is putting in its next major bull trap on this rally, but can it rally up a little bit more first? I kind of have the same thing to say about this one as, I forget what one we saw earlier that looked like this, but look, if you can close today above the price action pivot, which is also essentially simultaneously the 200 simple here at, 6/100ths of a cent, something like that. If you can close above there, I do think that this rally can extend a little bit more, maybe closer to like 7/100ths of a cent, or is that 1,000ths? Sorry, that is 7/10ths of a cent. Sorry, Jesus, I'm completely off here. 7/10ths of a cent. But this to me looks like it is ripe for, a cycle bull trap in this region. If things get really crazy, maybe it even moves up to like 9/10ths of a cent. But to be fair, I mean, it's not as bad as most other things in the short term, that's for sure. So I would be cognizant of this, that, this is not going to stay up there for forever. So when this starts to turn down on the daily, you probably have a local high in. That might even be today, again, if it gets rejected from this region again. But you have to give respect where respect is due. So there is possibility for more here. It's just, I would be very defensive against this thing turning around at a moment's notice. TNT Sailing says, why BNB not top 5? It is by all metrics. Just no one really gives a fuck about it from what I see. People care more about Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Solana, and Sui this cycle. I don't really ever see anyone even asking about BNB on this channel. So I try to tailor the content towards what the community wants to see in terms of tickers. Maybe they don't necessarily like my analysis though. What's up, iVape? Good to see you, man. Good morning to you as well. For Vike Crypto, he says, AKT. Okay, AKT. Don't like it. Wow, even getting rejected right at the 5. Look, as long as, again, the monthly stochastic also is positioned to the downside, which it very likely will be for May, assuming this thing remains above 319, I would treat this one cautiously, but kind of similar to the last, or a couple wins ago, I do think that you're going to be getting ready for like one of those bigger bounces relatively soon. Does it try some downside first and then try for that bounce? Probably yes. Maybe it ends up being something like this and then comes back down. But overall, the long term, like, in the long term, I do think that you get closer to these prior macro cycle lows, maybe not all the way there, but closer to that. But there should be a pretty big and decent bounce along the way. I thought it was going to happen over here as that LARP line suggested, but happened a little bit lower. I really do think that it will bounce up to like $2.50 at some point. But does it happen from exactly where it's at right now? That I don't know. Just I know around about $2.50, that's probably the place to look to, I don't know, maybe take some profits, perhaps. All right. What else we got over here? Or let me go over to this side. Oh, shit, that did not update. Okay, I've been looking at old comments there. Matt Farrago says, is it possible to take a look at Gala? It's definitely possible. I can't promise that I have anything nice to say about it, though. So there's that. Again, no promises here, so don't hate me.
Nuclear launch detected.
It's looking great, man. Looking really, really good. Really, really good. Again, you might get one of these pumps out of nowhere. That is not a game that I can accurately predict. What I can say is your trend is your friend. Well, maybe not yours if you own this thing, which you probably do, because that's typically why people ask about shit. But you could let the trend be your friend. Again, you might have another one of these pumps out of nowhere, but the result will be the same for this thing. Gala is a dead project, says Vike Crypto. I think the team themselves have moved on. Best to stay away. No, man, have you seen the chart? This thing is great. Look, don't listen to him, Matt. Vike is just trolling you, and really what he's trying to do, he's trying to manipulate you to tell you, to make you sell your Gala coins low so that he can accumulate them. He's going to be getting rich. You're going to not be getting rich. I'm sorry, man. It's a very, very dirty game here. When Tucker interview, I saw a pretty funny video from Tucker the other day with myself. It's pretty creative. Let's see. Tally says, have you looked at XLM already? Funnily enough, no one's asked about that, like pretty much ever. Yeah, we can look at it. Very interesting here, like XRP, it gets these pumps up to the same areas every cycle and then just fails. Closed here, closed here, closed here. This is all in the monthly. I don't know. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say you probably get the same result as all the other prior times. It's going to be bounces along the way, but the destination is the same as always. Back to the garbage can. Unfortunately, it was a good run. It's a very nice run. Do your own fucking research. Great name, by the way. This is my favorite name of the day. Almost as good as Peepoo. Can Carvana stack? My TA says this could be a local top. What do you think? Daily or higher? All right, let's check it out. CVNX. This is a real stock, so we have something new here. Could this be a local top? I think you probably have at least a daily high here. Maybe it guns for this for this gap at 280. I think that's your risk if you're playing a top here. It's definitely possible, but I think you're going to be on the right side of that either which way. You're seeing momentum get into some pretty crazy levels here. It's going to turn down below 261.5. I haven't, obviously we aren't seeing post-market data for this one, but I imagine it's probably down after post-market like most things were last night. So, if you see this thing start to trade below like 250, I'd say that would be my confirmation that, yeah, this is a local high. You should see it come back down to like, 220 or maybe even 200. Yeah, really fucking epic rally here though. Really epic rally. And if I do go to the higher term timeframes, I mean, it could very easily pull back to that number that I just spoke about and actually put in a low there. So maybe I shouldn't be like full on bearish on something like this, but I do think you're going to generally be on the right side, whether it puts in a high here at like 265 or whether that's 280 and then plays at a pullback. But I do think that the pullback actually really could put in a higher low at like 220 or 230. So yeah, I'd be defensive against that if you're going to, play this one to the short side. But if you're just taking profits, and, I think that this is a fine place, to be honest. Again, that's just me. Let's see. I'm looking for an obvious chart here. Maybe the bi-monthly. Yeah, weird one. It really did have a fucking epic recovery last close on this one. So maybe I should give it the benefit of the doubt. Either way, though, I would be looking for a reconnect here first. And then if it's going to pump back up, okay, fine, so be it. But, you got your downside move. I don't know how relevant that is to you, depending upon your time frames, man. All right. What else we got? Let me scroll back on over here. Can you check out Dog, please, for Bull Run Bonkers? Okay. Dog coin. Is this literally Dog coin? No. We've already looked at Doggy coin. Maybe it's this thing. Not enough history here to really be going off of, but you already know what I'm about to say, man. This looks like a pretty damn good place for another lower high. And if it's not, then perhaps moves up to like 0.4 of a cent, but that would also be a great place for another local high. Let's see. Jamal Mina says Ford at symbol F. Yeah, let's look at this. I actually used to look at this like many years ago. I haven't looked at it in a very long time. And you're looking at a quarterly here. Wow. This is crazy, man. Last time I looked at it was, it was like over here. Huh. Crazy. It's like basically exactly where I last saw it 7 or 8 years ago. That is wild. All right, let's check this out. Boom. Where's your range lows coming in around something like this? This does look like a good place that it could try bounce from, but I don't think the bounce is going to reverse the trend. I think at best you could bounce up to like 11.5 or maybe $12 and then come back down, because longer term, I do think that you get a little bit closer to, I don't know, $7 or so. But this does look like one mega massive long-term accumulation range. Just, is it ready to bust just yet? I mean, I don't think so, no. So yeah, I actually would probably, if you put a gun to my head, I'd probably say, yeah, short-term bounce, but I don't think it's going to reverse trend. I think it just continues on in this range. So yeah, Pisa on YouTube says, good morning, sir. Good morning to you as well. Could you please check out XRP? I think we looked at this one a little bit earlier, but you go back to the daily here. Over the weekend, I said that this one is very likely putting in a local high at that 235 region. Also rejection of the 382 here as well. And now we're officially seeing the price action pivot indicator switch into a bearish posture at 235. So, I would just say follow the trend in this case. Maybe you get a little bit of a bounce off of the 200 simple. Typically you do, but this one's switching around into a much more bearish posture overall. So personally, I do think that this one actually will reach lower. Will reach lower than where it's at right now, closer to like 180 or something like this. And then you probably bounce there, and maybe that bounce is going to be a heroic bounce that brings it back onto the heavens. But But first things first, I'd probably be looking, further south before anything else. Monthly is starting to become a little bit more concerning. You're seeing it cross down on momentum as long as it's below 273, and it's well below there. Obviously, there's a lot of days left to go in this month, but damn, man. Oh shit! I just realized it is time for me to shut it off. Actually, I need to go get ready for my massage. Anyways, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking with everyone on this nice little Tuesday morning. I hope that my well-intentioned but perhaps badly formed jokes were not taken in a terrible way. Other than that, I want to wish everyone the best. We'll be back on tomorrow with just a regular analysis. It will be live on Twitter, but not on YouTube. And with all of that said, I want to wish everyone the best. Take care.